Hey, we're back. Welcome back to the 14th Amendment, where we're going to read, see, learn, and comprehend that which is spoken of the descendants of chattel slaves, i.e. black citizens, in the United States Constitution via the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act of 1866, what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King says is the Promissory Note. Okay, so welcome back, y'all. You don't know me enough yet, but you will. If you look, you can Google Ted Hayes, Google Ted Hayes and homelessness, Google Ted Hayes and immigration, Google Justiceville, Google Dome Village. If you go to LA Times, you see all the articles that the LA Times has done on me since 1985. That you'll see I've been, on this for 35 years now. 1985, I'm a civil rights activist. Well, at least I thought I was a civil rights activist until 2004, 2005. We'll talk about that another time. But the point is, I've always been concerned about the state and fate of what we call black folks, African Americans, Negroes, colored folks. I've always been concerned about the state of our being ever since I was a kid and a teenager and a young man in my early 20s and so forth. And I've also cared about people in general, poor people especially, people who can't speak for themselves. See, my mom and daddy taught me, don't let nobody push you around. Speak up for yourself, and speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves. I've always had that. It's ingrained, it's written on my DNA wall, basically, okay? And in 85, I'll just say this. No, I won't say that. Following my beliefs, I became homeless on purpose in downtown Los Angeles. And I thought I'd be there for 3 or 4 weeks trying to understand and figure out what was happening, feel it, smell it, taste it, that kind of thing. Identify with it. And I ended up staying down there for 8 years on the sidewalks of Los Angeles, conscientiously, as an activist, a civil rights activist, led many demonstrations and protests. I've been to jail at least a dozen times to actions of civil disobedience. Look me up. Talk about Occupy LA, Occupy Wall Street. We was occupying way back in them days. We would take over the city council or the mayor's office or the county board of supervisors or some public facility somewhere. We was always on them. And we was in the news a lot, okay, on this homeless thing matter. One of the things that I recognized when I first hit the streets of Skid Row years ago, I looked around and I saw that the predominance of the people that were homeless were people like us, chattel slave descendants, American chattel slave descendants, black citizens, primarily black men, followed by black women. In fact, here's a little statistic for you. Go look it up for yourselves, don't believe me. Being that we're only 12% of the national general population of the United States of America, the chattel slave descendants, i.e. black citizens, we are 12% of the homeless population. And that's primarily in the urban centers where our people generally dwell. For example, here in Los Angeles, in LA County, we are 8% of the general population. In LA City proper, we are 9% of the general population. Yet when it comes to the homeless, in each one respectively, city and county, we are over 40%. 40%. 8% general, 40% homeless. Here's one for you. Skid Row, Central City East, downtown LA. Skid Row. From the hotels to the motels, to the missions, to the shelters, to the automobiles, to the sidewalks, particularly the sidewalks. By the way, go to Google Maps and look up Skid Row, downtown Los Angeles, and you'll see block after block in that area, blue tents and structures on sidewalks. Well, the people who are inhabiting those tents and structures, 90% are black men. 90% are black men, followed by black women and their children, and then a mixture of the rest. Now the women And the children don't stay out too long because they'll get scooped up into one of the shelter missions and things like that. But nevertheless, they are in that zone of homelessness where it is literally, y'all, literally hopeless for the masses of them to ever get out of that pit. That's why I call downtown LA the ground zero and the black hole of homelessness. And the fact that the majority, disproportionate of the homeless population are American descendants of chattel slaves rings a bell here. That's an omen. That's a warning. That's a sign. But it's also a sign not only of bad, but a sign of good hope. But the issue is, if the 14th Amendment, y'all remember on your device, the 14th Amendment, Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 1, it describes what the subject beneficiaries, us, what we are entitled to, which is basically the same rights that white citizens have declared by the Declaration of Independence. It's just that we've never experienced the full enforcement of that law. Subsequently, over the generations, as we began to decline further and further and further, it has manifested now the malady within our community, within our overall country, with black people living homeless, the very people this nation has built its structure on, the backs of our ancestors. Yet here we are, leading the nation in the most disgusting economic condition a people in a prosperous nation like this could have. If it wasn't for the back of our ancestors, this would not be a prosperous nation. Yet, but for some reason, the descendants of those people upon whose back the nation is built, their children are languishing in the streets of America's urban centers. Something is wrong with that, y'all. And I'm telling you what it is. It's a lack of the enforcement of the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act of 1866, i.e., the Promissory Note. The Promissory Note. And that's why we're here. And that's why we had this channel. Now, I'm going to say to you again, go to the14th.us, THE, digital 1, digital 4.us, the 14th.us, and treat it like a textbook. Study what this law, this power, this superpower, super citizenship power that we have been entitled to. Now, when it comes to the homeless, I want you to go to this website. Go to NF, the digital 2, NOW.US. That's that's NF2NOW.US. NF2now.US. And there you'll see something we call the New Frontier Operation Humanity. And we're at the center of that, y'all. So go check that out. And here's another one for you. Well, one more, just in case you can't remember all that or whatever. I know you got it on your device somewhere. But you can also go to tedhayes.us. tedhayes.us. And there you'll have the list of all of my websites. They're all connected there. And you'll see a lot of good, interesting, and fun stuff. And this is a little side issue. Then we'll come back to another time. But there's something I want y'all to go take a look at when you get a chance. Compton Cricket Club. Compton Cricket Club.us. Go check that out. You're going to have some fun with that. Anyway, I'm an activist for the homeless. I'm a civil rights activist for the homeless. And I'm telling you and saying to you and teaching you that because we have not exercised our 14th Amendment right, it has not been fully executed, primarily by the President of the United States, we have the condition we have here. And what will fix that is the implementation and the execution of the 14th Amendment. We got